All right, what is going on, guys? It's Scott and Kyle with Never Hedge, and we have two very special guests today. We are talking fights and pretty much anything they want to talk about with Gabe and Jason from Bitlectro Labs. We had Jason on a couple weeks ago to talk about his upcoming project, but we are going to be sticking mostly to fights today. What is going on, guys?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having us.
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
exciting.
Yeah. So did you guys watch the fights this past weekend? Fury Wilder and the lowly UFC card this week?
I'm embarrassed to say I skipped the UFC card because we were right in the middle of a pre-sale launch, but I did watch the highlights, and I did watch the Fury fight. However, that was a treat.
I kind of have a crush on Mackenzie Dern, like somewhere. So like I'll watch any time Mackenzie Dern fights. So I watched the main event, and I was watching highlights kind of throughout the morning. But I watched the main event, and then I also watched Wilder and Fury. And Gabe and I had some good dialogue. We had different timestamps though at one point. So like someone was freaking out when someone else was like, wait.
I was ahead of you.
Yeah. But it was great. It was great.
But yeah, who doesn't have a crush on Mackenzie Dern? First off.
It's true, and she interviews well too. She's very charming, like someone that should be the face of the sport, right? And yet, doesn't. We thought she was going to win. I had her picked this weekend, and instead, sort of gets dominated aside from that one round on the ground, and it takes a little shine off, frankly, but.
I mean, it seems like every time that she interviews, too, though, her accent gets thicker, which is pretty fun, too. Did you notice that? When, like, a couple of years ago, they were like, every time she's on the mic, she just seems to get, like, it's a thicker accent every time. Like, there's, like, she doesn't need a translator, and then there's suddenly a translator. I like it. I think it's good, you know?
It's funny. Yeah. She's almost like a knockout fighter with her submissions. Like, when she's on the ground, you're almost done. Same as a knockout fighter would be. She's crazy to watch.
But you know what? I kind of felt the same way about Brian Ortega, and then it didn't happen, you know, and that was tight. And that's like it's the exact same thing though. That if Brian gets it, and with Brian, it doesn't even need to be on the ground. Like he can be like back against the cage and like somehow jump like he did on Cub, and then it's all over too. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm really enjoying. Like watching submissions more than I did when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I found ground game boring, but now I'm like, that's where I want to watch it go.
Oh yeah, I like it all.
Well, people used to boo when the fight would go to the ground, like all the time, and they still do sometimes. The dumb ones do.
Yeah.
I think we saw that on the last pay-per-view, did we not? So
we did.
I think there was there was a lot of booing all around there. People were booing Lawler even.
Right.
I mean, come on, these guys are two aging warriors. I don't know, it's a little tasteless sometimes, but I do think the audience is growing a little bit incrementally as we get more fans into it. But yeah.
And sometimes I think the fans that go to the big events especially, aren't the hardcore fans. It's rich people who get tickets to these things.
Right.
And they just want to see
if people get them through work and stuff.
Very good point.
But the only other really notable fight on that card was Randy Brown, Jared Gooden. And did you see Randy Brown dislocated his toe on Jared Gooden's face?
No way.
First round, right? It was right at the beginning.
Right at the beginning. Yep.
Yeah.
He was trying to like foot stomp his own foot to get his toe back in. He still won. That's
a bad mother effer, I will say.
Bad man. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What was that on the prelims or was that on the main card?
That's the main card. That was
Interesting.
the
main.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I need to watch through because I just thought that was a finish, wasn't it as well?
No, it ended up going. It would have been a finish if
yeah.
that toe didn't happen. Randy Brown was going to take the shit out of him, but the toe fucked him up a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Dang. So did you guys watch when you guys watch like boxing cards? I imagine you're doing parlays kind of across the whole card. So you must go from like 4:00 forward until midnight or however late the card goes. Hey.
Oh yeah, especially this past Saturday. I had all the TVs going. I had the living room set up, computers set up.
Triple boxing.
That was a good sports day overall. Playoff baseball. We had college football. We had everything going. It was a great day.
Yeah. You know what's crazy too though is we've been in such like the pre-sale sprint right now, like getting like as many eyes on the project as we can. I didn't even realize Thiago Santos and Johnny Walker fought last weekend. Gabe, did you know that?
No, I missed that.
I completely missed that card. Completely. And Kevin Holland fought too. No contest. Nico Price, Alex Oliveira. We missed that.
I tell you what, we were right on all of those fights. And if the Dawkins fight didn't go to a no contest, if they kept that a win, we would have won like thousands of dollars. Instead, we still were way up, but I think we were plus like 7 units with Kyle Dawkins winning that fight. We would have been plus like 21 units, something like that.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's frustrating.
That was a crazy no contest too, because they let it go and then Dawkins submitted Derek Holland, and then they went back and reviewed it.
Oh really? So yeah, I saw it was like a headbutt that Kevin like went down on. Hey.
Yeah, he did. It hurt him bad.
Yeah.
I got into a bunch of arguments with people on Twitter over this.
And what were people saying?
The argument was that they got it right, no contest, because the headbutt clearly affected Kevin Holland, right? Well, my argument was, I agree if they had like a ref in a skybox watching on tape, yes, the headbutt happens, you stop the fight, call it a no contest. But what happened was the fight played out. Kevin Holland even defended a few submissions, finally gets submitted a minute or so later.
Mm-hmm.
And my argument was, if you let it go, Kyle Dawkins is fighting for nothing. He's fighting for a no contest or a loss. Because if Holland had come back, they wouldn't have given Dawkins the no contest. But instead, Dawkins was fighting for nothing while Holland was fighting for a win. So if you let it go, you have to let it go and stand by your decision, and that didn't happen.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and that was the argument I was making online.
Huh.
I think I'm on your side. I heard some interesting commentary on this from MMA Fighting as well. And I remember one of the commentators agreed with the no contest. The other didn't. I think I'm leaning towards they should have declared it a win, frankly. Especially if you're not going to suspend the fight immediately. And maybe Dan missed the headbutt initially. I think it was Dan Murglietta, right?
Yeah.
Viking Dan, I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was such a strange thing. We get a lot of these little outliers. I mean, we've had a lot of good cards, even on the fight nights. The last year, like mid-pandemic, I felt like it was like we're just coming out with bangers, and you get a lot of these bizarre no contest decisions coming out that kind of stress the boundaries of the rule sets, like conditions that we don't really have best practices for yet. And it's kind of interesting to see the sport evolve and then the debates around it and the ruling. Kind of tells you we're still in like a developmental stage of what MMA is going to look like over the next 10 years.
Well, and it's funny too, like rules like that, stretching the rules happens in all sports. Look at what the Red Sox game the other night. Did you see that home run that wasn't a home run?
That ground rule double. Yeah, exactly. Yep. That was fascinating.
So what happened there? So hold on. What happened there?
So it definitely wasn't a home run. That wasn't really the argument. If you look back, it didn't land outside the wall. So, but it did bounce outside the wall. And the runner was gonna score, and they put him back on third base. But watching it live, if you watched it live, you would have swore it was a home run. The way Fenway is such a weird park, the way that wall was,
right?
It was pretty weird play.
Weird. That's interesting. What was people's like reaction to it? Were the people like should have been?
Well, I'm a Red Sox fan, so that wasn't.
It should have. It was not a home run. Okay.
The runner shouldn't have scored.
That's funny.
I bet you're hyped now, though, going to the next round. It's great.
Yep.
But.
Yeah, and then we had the Fury fight. That was awesome. What a fight that was.
Straight banger. Maybe one of the greatest heavyweight bouts of all time. I'm admittedly more of a UFC fan than a boxing match, but you tend to get those real spectacular fights in the heavyweights, at least in the modern era of boxing. That was just killer. Good back and forth. Fury was dominating, but it was still spectacular. He had those puncher's chances even in the late rounds that looked dangerous, even though there were points when he looked out on his feet. What a banger of a fight.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, So I'm definitely more of an MMA guy than a boxing guy. In some of the prelim fights, I just couldn't get into it, so I ended up watching. Have you guys ever heard of the documentary called Knuckle?
No, tell me about this. What's this all about?
All right, so the documentary Knuckle is way more interesting than the prelim boxing matches for the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fight. So it's this guy. He follows around two clans of Irish gypsies from this. I think he filmed it from like 1997 to 2009, maybe. Okay. And so they're in this like 10-year feud, and they would go and set up these bare knuckle boxing matches. And they would go, like, the shit talking that they would do, it was so ridiculous because, A, they're all freaking alcoholics. B, they're all, like, married to their cousins and stuff. And C, there was no, like, iPhones or anything like that. So they would film themselves on, like, a shoulder-mounted camcorder and then mail VHS tapes to each other and then set up these fights. And it's incredible. It's incredible. I believe you can find it for free on YouTube. That's
Love it. I just looked up the Wikipedia. This is definitely on my watch list.
Yeah, and some of the dudes are like 50. You know, they look like they're 70, and they're like fighting other like patriarchs from the rival clans. It's incredible.
That is wild. Oh my gosh. And so on like you got a pup? Is that a pup next door? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's my dog right there. She's making some noises. She wants some attention.
Making a little appearance. I like it.
She likes. She likes.
I didn't
Knuckle.
watch the prelims for Wild Fury, regrettably, that much. I watched just, I think, the co-main. But
that's all I watched actually.
Yeah, but I will say that does sound more entertaining than prelim boxing, to be honest. But that's wild.
Yeah. It says they filmed it for 12 years. That's incredible. Doc.
That is
12 years that was filmed.
The guy was all in.
And this is just for
on these fucking gypsies.
For glory between your gypsy clans. You know, no spectators, no fight.
Yeah, and they would take no spectators, filming it on the guy, the documentary guy was just filming it, and I don't even know like what. I don't even think it went to like any movie theaters or anything. I just heard about it from like a friend of mine, like 12 years ago or maybe 10 years ago now. And then I was like, oh, you know what's way more interesting than these two people who I don't know who they are fighting each other is the Joyces versus the Quinns McDonoughs.
Quinns McDonoughs. I love it.
The Quinn McDonoughs.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm surprised I haven't heard about this by now. This is it looks great. The reviews are incredible.
You have, man.
Thank you for sharing that, Scott.
What's the percentage on Rotten Tomatoes? Was it get? Is it even listed?
93%, bro.
93?
Overwhelmingly positive.
I wouldn't steer you wrong, Jason.
Gee, this ain't no indie dog.
I wouldn't steer you wrong.
Hey Scott, I'm not here to knock you, man. That is high. That is. You know what my favorite documentary is? It's not fight related, but okay. So I like the GSP doc that they put out. Loved that one. But I like the Connor doc. I thought it was good too. But for non-fight related, that documentary called Free Solo that Jimmy Chin did, like the free climb of El Cap. Oh my
Alex
god.
Honnold, yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, Alex Honnold. Oh my god.
I thought you were going to say Fauci. The Fauci doc is actually my favorite doc.
Icarus is probably number 2 though. Icarus was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is a wild
Have you seen that one, Gabe?
I have. I'm a huge sports doc nut. Even for sports I don't like, because like think about things with more drama in the real world where there's fewer consequences. Like there's consequences in the sport world, but it's for entertainment. It's some people's livelihoods, but it's consumptive, right? But you have these storylines that might traverse years in some instances if it's team rivalries or individual rivalries or scandals. Like I watched a figure skating doc. There's the new Netflix series that's all about scandal in sports. And in fact, the first one was about the Arizona State sports shaving incident in '94. Was it with Headache?
What happened there?
If you guys remember, college athletes shaving their
for the mob
in the the bettors made millions.
I know.
What?
I know they were doing that at BC too.
So, there's so much of it.
I'm sure they were doing it in a lot of places.
I'm sure it's still occurring.
It
I mean, like
probably is.
the now we're on another tangent, but and NCAA athletes, these guys end up in video games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you get to make AAA video games out of them, make millions of dollars. The sports bettors are making millions. The TV networks and stations are making millions on advertising dollars. And these kids don't make anything. I used to teach here at the university, and routinely, I'd have the basketball player. And this was back like 8 years ago, back when UNLV still had a ranked basketball team. And I'd see these kids in my class, and I'm like, you guys are like 19 in the rankings right now, or whatever it happened to be at the time, at least for some of the NCAA rankings. And, kids rolling in, not making any income to play basketball, no part-time job. He's got to practice all the time. It's hard for some of these athletes. So someone comes to you and says, hey, I'll give you $50,000 to shave some points out of a basketball game.
Right.
What do you do?
Yeah, miss a couple free throws at the end. Sign me up.
And then the consequences are life changing. Like if you look at Headache from Arizona State, he was slated to go first round in the NBA draft, and then doesn't get picked by any team. Ends up playing on the international circuit, the B leagues, and then they arrest him and throw him in prison a couple of years later. Like, what an outcome for just a college kid that made a couple of mistakes with his basketball game. I mean, I guess it shows you F with people's money. They put the hammer down on you. But that's a good doc. I'll watch any sports documentary, frankly, because there's nothing more dramatic than conflict in sports and scandal in sports. But
Dang. I got to watch the Connor doc in theaters, and I remember sitting there, like Notorious, and I remember just sitting there, and I was like, had my poutine, because in Canada, right, and you can get it at the movie theater, and I sat there, and I was like, this is like peak, like, I can't get, like, it's all downhill from here, like up, down, like, that's it. You got to watch the Jose Aldo, like, oh man, that knockout in the big screen. I saw some friends posting that they were watching the Wilder Fury fight in a movie theater. I guess one of the theaters who were doing it.
They do that,
and people were standing up, throwing stuff. I thought it was so good, and I was like,
oh my god,
same vibe.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, but in Canada, you have poutine. That's the difference. In the States, popcorn, you can get poutine. It's incredible. You know what I mean?
That's
a little jealous of that, Jason.
Right? Yeah. So I'm telling, and you know what? It's a good poutine. Like in Canada, there's good poutine and there's bad poutine. But this one, like, bad poutine's like oven-baked fries. Like, you don't want those.
No.
There's one place here called 420 Poutine House. Don't mean to put them on blast, right? But, like, in the name, you think it's going to be good, right? You think it's going to be, like, little late-night stoner food. But then you read the description, oven-baked fries. I don't trust it.
No,
like, you need, like, the dirty oil of, like, a deli vibe, Like...
Yeah. The dirty oil mixing with the gravy.
That's what I'm telling you.
Even at home, you get the Walmart bag fries. You throw them in some oil. They're excellent.
Exactly.
they're excellent.
Like Costco
frozen
fries.
Potatoes are your friend as long as you fry them.
Oh my god. Yeah. Jesus. What do you? Okay. We're going on mad tangents, but I'm loving this. What's your guys' order if you do go to like a movie, or if you go to a fight, like if you're going to a live sports event, like what's the vibe? Like for me, it was nachos. Like load that up, get the cheese dip. I'll throw the nachos when a knockout happens. Like I'm there,
I'm getting a pretzel. I'm a pretzel guy.
Sick. Okay. Okay. Scott.
3 beers to go.
I was gonna say usually, tall cans of beer, especially at the UFC fight. Back when they do them at the MGM, I would just get two tall Bud Lights. But also sporting events, I'm a big hot dog guy. In fact, that's one of the things I missed mid-pandemic was getting hot dogs out. I'd even joke to friends like, man, if I could even just get a gas station hot dog. But I'm a garbage eater. But anyway, yeah.
Funny.
Hot dogs at sporting events.
I tell you, hot dog with the chopped up onions at a baseball game is just
damn true.
Facts.
Yeah.
Shout out Hummel's Hot Dogs, New Haven, Connecticut. Best dog you could ever get.
Oh yeah.
Hold on.
That's true.
Hot dogs.
Is New Haven pizza also better than New York pizza? This
By
has been a discussion.
by a million.
Okay.
That's the debate.
Absolutely.
Hold on. You got to break this down. Why? Because I've never had a reason to go to New Haven, Connecticut, Kyle. But maybe I do now.
You do.
You still don't. You still don't have a reason to go.
slide on through for the pizza and get out.
Is that it? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Make a pit stop get off 95 on your way from New York to Boston, and then just slide right
Go to
back.
Worcester
Keep
Street.
going.
They're all there. You get a slice of pizza at each one, and you're good to go.
Any specific place that matters? Because like I have opinions on New York pizza.
So my favorite is Modern. My number one is
Okay.
Modern. I don't know if Scott agrees with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I concur.
Yeah.
Really?
I concur. And I like. So the thing about Modern is you can actually get it.
Sally's is
Like-
always closed.
Sally's.
Oh, really?
Sally's is always. It's the worst
Yeah.
business in the entire world. They're always closed. They only
Yeah, they
take
only take
cash.
cash.
And
And their line is ridiculous.
yeah, you gotta wait 3. You gotta go
Now, granted,
9 in the
all the
morning
lines
to
at
get a
these places
friggin'
are
pizza for
pretty
dinner.
ridiculous, But
That's
Sally's,
funny.
Modern,
Yeah.
Pepe's are the big three. Everyone will tell you. I think it goes Modern, then probably Sally's, then Pepe's.
All right, I'm taking notes.
Interesting.
All right, I'm
Yeah.
taking notes. Now we know the order. So let's take a look at the upcoming cards
they-
as well.
Yeah,
I want to go
let's
through
do
this
it.
with you guys before we got to
Yes.
bounce. There are so many things going on. So I'll let you gentlemen quiz us on picks maybe or something because I got my phone open and
Well,
there's a lot going on.
This week we got my boy. He's fighting Jim Miller. I love him.
I like Jim
I've
Miller.
loved him. I've loved
Cousin
him
Jim.
forever. And I think he's gonna kick some ass. He's fighting some new guy. I looked him up. He doesn't look all that good, Eric Gonzalez. I don't think he can take Jim Miller.
Nope. Yeah. So there's a lot of huge favorites on this card. So it's not the best betting card, but there's only one there's a couple that are only one on the main card that's even close in odds, and that's Andre Arlovski versus Carlos
I
Felipe.
like Felipe.
That's a pick'em.
And that's right at a pick'em. Right, Kyle? Are you
Yeah,
seeing that?
that is a pick'em, and we're going to be betting that, Scott. We got Carlos Felipe. Andre Arlovski is ancient, and he hasn't looked
Yes,
great.
he is.
He's
Ancient.
he's been fighting real smart. He's kind of now he's like picks his shots. Last fight he won with basically just leg kicks alone. And Carlos Felipe's not a world beater, but he's fast as shit, and he's going to beat Andre Arlovski.
On the books, on the
Yes.
record.
Andre Arlovski is, he's like a good gatekeeper. He fights a lot of up and coming guys now,
Yep.
and it's kind of one of those things where if you beat Andre Arlovski,
John
you're like,
Wayne.
all right, you can stay. You know, he's got good name
Yeah.
recognition, although he's not what he once was. But then if you lose to Andre Arlovski, that's like a big
Yeah.
minus.
That's true.
And we got next week after we
42
got
years old.
Paulo Costa, Marvin Vettori. That's a great fight.
I'm excited
it
to see
is.
that one. That's a banger.
That's a
Both
Both
of
of
you
those
guys got
guys
on that
heavy
one.
strikers.
I think
Gabe, who do you have on that Arlovski fight too?
I'd have to go with Carlos, frankly. I have a hard time. I like to build betting models for MMA
Yeah.
using ELO, but I have a filtering mechanism where basically if a fighter has a high ELO but they exceed the age of 35, the ELO
Yeah.
prediction drops dramatically. So if I ran this through my model, it would tell me to pick Carlos basically.
because he's
yeah, we-
42.
Yeah,
Yeah.
incredible. And
Yeah.
and a heavyweight, division that's
Yeah.
notable for taking a lot of hits, a lot of damage from power punchers. Yeah, I mean, especially if you put him against a fast guy. I thought Chase Sherman was going to beat him. Frankly,
We picked Chase Sherman too.
yeah, and that surprised
Yeah.
the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I think I lost some money on that fight, frankly.
It was a close fight though.
So, yeah.
But yeah, Paulo Costa, Marvin
Yes.
Vettori. I'm
And-
super excited for it. That
I
Marvin,
think that's a good matchup.
it is.
Take
wonder. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Paulo? Maybe?
Yeah, Marvin Vettori's a psycho. he's
I like
one of those
Marvin.
guys that's like actually insane. I think.
Who do you think, Gabe, on that?
I'm leaning
not betting as
Costa.
Kyle, do you have the line?
You got Costa?
Do you have the line for that?
No, but I can get it.
It might not.
plus-
It's probably not even
plus,
out yet.
I got it. Plus 102 for Costa, minus 120 for Vettori. At least that's their FanDuel right now. So that's almost a pick 'em.
I
Yeah.
think that's about
He's
right.
probably right.
I think. Yeah, and I think there's definitely more value in Costa there.
I would agree.
At the slight dog.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, and stylistically, these guys are very, very similar. Walk forward and punch.
Yeah.
I would say Paulo's a little more explosive. His movement his movement didn't look great against Izzy, for example. But
No.
Marvin Vettori is sort of one of these bite down move sort of guys to me. And then Costa's at least got a little more fluidity to his footwork and a little more explosiveness. Not to say that Marvin does not, but I think I'm going to go with Costa on this one, frankly.
I like it.
Yeah.
And then we got
same.
UFC 267, which is looking to be like one of the best cards of the year. Jan versus Glover. And then we got Peter Yan versus Sandhagen. Islam Makhachev, Dan Hooker.
Gosh. That's a great fight.
Volkov, Tybura. It just keeps. Kimaev comes back against Li Jiang.
That's a good fight
ridiculous.
too. Ozdemir back.
I just really want Glover to win. I want him to win so bad.
I know.
Yeah.
Speaking of aging fighters, it's funny because he's 41 now, so just a year shy of what we were just talking about with Arlovsky. What's his streak right now? Last person he lost to is Corey Anderson in 2018. He's taken down Roberson, Ion Sutabella, Krylov, Anthony Smith, and Thiago Santos. I would say those are some pretty notable wins. Smith is inconsistent, but the way he does it, I mean, like that RNC against Santos was freaking killer. He's not going in there and not taking damage in the process, but he's like a tank. He could put the work in, last into the later rounds. It's impressive for a guy his age. Yeah, I would love to see him take the title.
When he's on the ground, he's a problem for anybody.
Yeah. Expert jiu-jitsu technician.
And ask Anthony Smith. He hits hard.
Oh my god!
That's right.
Yeah,
that was
Smith was losing
one, wasn't
teeth.
it?
Yeah.
And they were, because you could hear them on the mic, and Teixeira was apologizing, right? He was hitting him. He says, "I'm sorry, it's just business," or something like that, if I recall. I remember watching that live. I was like, "What did he just say to him?" And I had to watch the replay. Like,
I was
holy
screaming
smokes.
at the ref to stop it. I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, and then
It's
even
brutal.
mid-round, like you're losing teeth. And I was like, don't let Anthony Smith walk out there. Like, he's one of these guys you have that concern for. Like, how much damage did Smith take over the last 5-6 fights? Also, he's the main event fighter, like on the last 6 fights he's had or something like that. And yet he's not a consistent winner. It's kind of fascinating. So he's doing all these 5-rounders, taking a boatload of damage, especially from that Glover fight. But old man Glover would love to see it.
Yeah.
That, and while we're on the topic of teeth, one of the guys Glover just beat, or one of his wins in his streak, Ion Cutelaba. Did you see him when he broke all of Devin Clark's bottom teeth?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Did you see that picture afterwards?
Gabe, look up Devin Clark teeth right now. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's gruesome. It's
Dude,
bad.
It's not his teeth didn't fall out. They were from the gum line down here. They were broken. They're completely
got it,
free.
Wired shut that night, but isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a terrible photo I just looked at. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they let him keep fighting. I think because his dad would have killed him if he.
Brown bear.
I was talking about Devin Clark's teeth.
Yeah, he got crushed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I had,
You're
to,
talking
I had
teeth.
to get the dog a bone. She started to eat the house plants.
Oh yeah, dogs do that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Also on that same card, the same one with Glover, is the guy Chris with the hair who Sugar Sean just fought.
Oh, is he on that card?
The Warrior. Yeah, he's opening it in the prelims.
No
Which is
way.
interesting. Yeah. I mean, Warrior Spirit, to be honest. That was a crazy fight. Remember that?
Yes.
Just kept walking forward.
It is. Oh, Scott and our girl Verna's on the card. She's
On
the
the UFC.
267.
Yeah, she's main
Yeah, we had
prelim.
Verna on the podcast. We talked to her after her.
That's cool.
Verna
Yeah.
Janjidoba.
But Peter Yan
nice.
versus Corey Sandhagen. That's an insane fight. Who do you have in that?
I gotta go Jan.
Me too.
I had Sandhagen in the Dillashaw fight. It was close. I don't think it was an all-out robbery. But I thought Sandhagen's output was just a little higher, even though they both had their moments. I just think Jan's a problem for everyone in that division. And I don't know what the secret sauce is to beat him. I'd love it if Cejudo came back or something. I mean, Cejudo's starting 145, but I don't see anyone dominating Jan. Maybe there's always a puncher's chance, but I don't see anyone giving him a run for his money right now at 135.
Well, Peter Yan was kicking the shit out of Aljamain right before he kneed him into the next galaxy.
That's the secret sauce. Get kneed in the head.
The secret sauce.
Yeah, you just
fouled.
Sandhagen's just got to keep one hand on the ground.
Just walk up, sweeping legs. That's what he needs to do. Just walk up, crab walk.
Just tag the ground real quick if he thinks he's about to get
Wait till the knee is airborne and then drop to the ground. What's that?
Funny. Do y'all think Sterling is ducking?
Well, that's interesting.
A little bit.
Did you see the Twitter? I don't know if you guys have been looking at Twitter recently, but there's a whole controversy that he's been sparring, and with Adrian Yanez, and
in the back warming up, right?
No, there's a picture of him getting punched in the face by Adrian Yanez, and his neck is even snapping back like this. And the guy who posted it on Twitter is just kind of like us, very similar to us. I've actually talked to him a few times, and I feel bad for the guy because he's getting shit on because Yanez is defending his boy Aljamain and saying that you're putting a false narrative out there. Aljamain's not ducking anybody. He was not hard sparring. That's a bad picture out of context. And the guy's like, listen, I just posted the picture. I didn't take it. I didn't take the picture. I posted the picture. It's there for everyone to see. So there you go. But
my God,
I think Corey won that fight against TJ. Not that I'm a judge, but
he did more damage.
Up.
He did more damage.
So who do you got then, Jason, against Jan?
Jan. I think Jan still. I think I got Jan still. Maybe. I like. I want Corey.
Jan.
I want Corey too.
I personally collect. Yeah. I invest in Corey. I buy his cards. I sit on a nice stack of him. But it's I also don't. I didn't love the way that Peter reacted to the DQ. I get the disappointment in that, but he was kind of I don't know. It was pretty intense out the gate.
Yeah.
Kind of word calling and stuff. I don't know. Didn't love that, I guess, on the sportsmanship side, but
it'll be tight. Though? I think it might be a little bit gamesmanship.
Yeah, you might be right. Kind of just becoming the villain to become a villain.
Or
almost.
Trying to get under Aljamain's skin and make him accept the fight faster.
You might be right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably, and you know what? You're probably right. Makachev Hooker is insane.
I
though.
think
that's going to be great.
Hooker's gonna have problems with Makachev.
I do too. Hooker's a savage to call his wife and be like, "Hey, I'm not coming home. I'm taking another fight." Isn't that what it is?
Versus a guy that no one wants to fight. Nobody.
All right.
Yeah.
Hooker's debating moving to the States, right? Is that correct? Or I might be confusing.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Because Australia's messed up right now.
Yeah,
So
hard protocols if you want to
the
fight.
People's Republic of Australia.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
I think New Zealand is. I think he's from New Zealand, and New Zealand is just.
Either one.
But boys,
You're right.
November
He's New Zealand.
6th,
Yep.
the card that Gabe and I have even talked about. Who knows? Maybe going to if we're in
Really?
New York. Who knows? Maybe.
We might
God's
be over
plan.
there.
God's plan. Who knows?
God's plan.
November 6th, boys.
Colby.
268. You got Colby?
No. I'm going.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say. I was like, you got Colby?
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm going Eastman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
It's a good fight,
so
though.
stacked.
It's an excellent fight. And
What a
then-
great card.
Who
Just in
do you
general.
have in the Gaethje Chandler?
That's tough. I'm not okay. Chandler's clearly good. I'm still not sold on him because he gets dropped into title contention or at least the discussion first fight in the UFC. I get it. Super dominant, great fighter in Bellator. Yeah, I don't know. I'm leaning Gaethje. Not that, but
Chandler's chin is questionable.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Gaethje's pressure is just. I mean, if you're prone to these flash knockouts, and you got someone with Gaethje's volume and
leg kicks and
I don't know. I'm leaning Gaethje on that one. What's the line on that fight? Now I'm very curious. Let's see.
So Gaethje's minus 180.
That's not so bad. That's not so bad.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm liking Gaethje as well.
That whole card is
like you said. Chandler's chin is suspect.
From that card.
Yeah.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
No.
Was he fighting Sean Strickland?
Something about his neck, I think. He said he doesn't need surgery, he said, but he won't be able to fight. But Frankie Edgar, Marlon Vera, what a fight that is.
Oh my gosh, to open up a main card too?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's great.
Yeah.
That would headline a fight night.
Yeah, easily.
Hell, any card on this fight would obviously
Shane Burgos, Billy Q, excellent fight.
Yeah.
Excellent
Rose
fight.
Wei Lee, did we forget about that?
Right.
Rose
Crazy.
Wei Lee?
Yeah, we skipped Myatt. As far as the women's MMA goes,
women fight that we're going to see.
Both of them put on spectacular shows every time. I like women's strawweight in general, admittedly. That's my favorite of the women's weight classes in UFC specifically. But man, like that's a swing and bang, knockup. I mean, it was the first time, and we can expect it again. Something spectacular seems to happen every time Rose goes out there, even if she's getting dropped on her head by Andrade. But it's I still have Rose in that one as well. I mean, unless
what's the line like?
I have Rose too.
It's Rose is minus 125.
Closer than I would have thought. Honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if the fight goes more than 1 minute. How Rose does against John Wei Lee, because she is freaking tough.
Yeah. They've got some nice cards stacked up, because the next week is Max Holloway, Yair Rodriguez.
Oh my God, my heart, my old ticker. Oh my gosh.
They've got some.
I gotta have Max on that one. Hey.
Yeah, I'm going Max.
Like, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Like what? If Yair wins, one amazing win for Yair, but what does Max do then? If that happens,
I don't know. Like, he's one of those guys. He seems to love fighting, so.
Yeah.
But he's got the gaming thing now. He's like a streamer.
Yeah.
Him and his son. His son streams together.
Yeah. Mini Blessed. Yeah, it's so good.
I love it.
Yeah.
He does his little dance, a little schmurda dance or whatever. So good. Oh my god.
You should jump on with Mighty Mouse and do some joint streams together. Maybe they have. I don't know.
Two of the best fighters ever. Be great.
Yeah. What about Sugar Sean? He streams as well, guys. What about? Are we not putting him as one of the best fighters ever?
We don't talk about him, Jason.
We don't talk about him.
I'm just kidding. I like Sean. Jason and I joke about his matchups.
It is funny. He picks who he wants, and he doesn't want anyone good.
Yeah,
I think it's smart. No, I mean, it's very much the Mayweather strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's still growing, maturing. Maybe in 5-6 years his skill set matures and he could be in ranked or even title fight contention. But in the interim, he's not going too hard too fast. He's picking people that are within his skill set, and he puts on spectacular fights. From a business standpoint and a sustainability standpoint for his livelihood, it's as smart as it gets. And people will critique him for it, and I'm like, no, keep doing it, man. Do you, and then when your skill set improves, then go for it, because there's no shortage of people that want to consume your fights, watch your fights, and enjoy your personality. So I want to talk about this. What does Max do if he loses to Yair? I think he frankly does whatever he wants, but that division is kind of interesting, right? So you've got Volk at the top, two close fights with Max, dominant win over Ortega. I think a bigger question is, what does Ortega do right now? Having lost to the champ and number one. 145's historically been filled with killers, and now we have a top-heavy division with a dominant champ that I don't. Who's Volk's next fight going to be? Even this division's really kind of interesting and tied up.
They might be hoping for Max to win and make that the trilogy.
Yeah, number 3.
Yeah.
which seems viable. But it's also just bizarre to have 2 decision wins, even if they're close, and then go for the trilogy when it's not a rubber match, right?
It's weird. What about Cejudo? So he said he wants it.
I would love to see that. I mean, why not filter him in? Let this guy go for the 3rd division championship. Throw him right to the wolves.
Right
Give
in
him
he deserves it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a draw. I mean, we know the UFC, it is a business. Dana loves the money fights. They love the strange matchups, the grudge matches from years ago. They let Conor jump the line in lightweight against Alvarez. Why not do the same thing for Triple C? Make it Quadruple C, I guess. I don't count that Triple C, that 3rd C. It's not it's not a belt, right? But that seems to make sense to me. I mean, kind of fascinating.
For sure.
Just how that division is so stacked, and then you have other divisions right now that are, lacking in consistent talent. 'Cause I'm kind of looking at like light heavyweight and heavyweight right now that I consider to be kind of a mess. But here we are. I still have Holloway in the Yair fight. I think that's, and I don't think he presents anything that Holloway hasn't dealt with before, that Holloway couldn't weather, frankly.
Yeah, I think he pieces him up a little bit. Shows that boxing.
So, if Max loses, he could theoretically fight. When's Chan Sung Jung fighting again? He's ranked number 4.
That'd be a good one.
For the featherweights. Also, what I was thinking is, so Giga Chikadze is fighting Calvin Kattar in January, and they could be setting him up. I know he's planning for a title run. He's putting one on right now.
He's nasty.
Giga.
I like Giga. I don't think he gets enough shine yet, given his run right now. And he's definitely in title contention. Looks like we lost Kyle. I'll just keep rambling, but he's racking him up. Edson Barboza, Cub Swanson.
He'll still be there. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yes, absolutely.
Interesting. Oh, yeah, that was crazy too. Well, see, I think now I'm puzzled. See, now you're making me change where I was thinking, because I was going like, I don't know what. Now I'm curious, like, even also, so if Yair loses this, where does Yair go? Just another step or 2 down? Like, who do they give him? Because who did Yair just beat to get this fight?
Jeremy Stevens.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right. I would consider Jeremy Stevens kind of a gatekeeper a bit, hey? Into that
At
top.
this juncture.
I would absolutely consider that. Yeah.
Yeah. Had his moments years ago on a terrible swing the last 5.
Yeah.
But, used to be, potentially on the up and up. Yeah. Oh, he's been wildly inconsistent for years now.
Who is that guy? Who the fuck is that guy?
Oh, that's right.
That was him.
Conference.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
All right. Kyle's computer died. His battery ran out, so he's going to be off for a little bit. Do you guys want to go over
here he comes, maybe.
Launch this
Yeah.
weekend?
Back in. Oh, he's back, baby.
Yeah. We're back. The computer died. We talked so long, my computer died.
No worries.
The kid.
Yeah.
No worries. Yeah, let's talk about the launch as we kind of get into it. Gabe, we're right in sprint mode, so I did a little overview last time in the chat. I'll let you take it from here, Gabe.
Yeah, we launched our pre-sale of the Dreamers yesterday. Yesterday? Oh my gosh, it feels like it's been 3 days already. We've just been scrambling. Anytime you turn the Switch live on a smart contract, it's like you have customer support issues, if you will, support issues with new users or any wallet hiccups. So there's a lot of hand-holding there. So we launched our first collection back in June, which Jason probably discussed on the last pod he did with you. But this is the new collection. They are 16-bit generative avatars with music as well. 15,000 unique musical loops produced by our co-founder, Keel Corcoran of the indie band Starfucker. He actually had one of his bandmates.
Starfucker.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah.
If you're not already fans, give them a gander on Spotify. They've got a pretty fun catalog, and their live show's killer. not just saying that because he's my friend, but I really do like the band. But so that's happening. We're building a battle arena around the avatars. So I'm a big fan of projects like Avagachi, Zed Run, Chicken Derby. Shout out to Benjamin over there. And I looked at the scope of those projects and I said, this is achievable. Like, I've been doing blockchain crypto development since 2016, and I thought, we can make an automated battle arena integrating our avatars and eventually integrating our original collection, port it over to Polygon, and then create a native token that allows people to wager in PvP combat. Now, it's all automated, mind you, stuff on blockchain. Anytime there's a real-time sort of interaction with the player, it gets tricky because you're signing transactions and committing things to smart contracts on Solidity. So it is an automated arena. It's basically you're wagering a token, you're putting your fighter against another fighter, and then you come back later and you watch it. Very similar to how Zed Run works, but Zed is with 10 horses. This is 1v1. So we're in the midst of that launch. It's really exciting. We've been basically working on it since July. Keel started producing the artwork in July, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. If we look at actual unique attributes and traits, there's like 800 or something right now, close to 900. They're not all tagged in the metadata. I think we tagged close to 400 and something right now, but certain things didn't make sense,
800.
like changing a nose. So like there might be 30 different noses, but many of them are just common, so we only tag the ones that are rare. But it's been a labor of love. All of them animate, not only background animations, but foreground animations. So that was a growing process. We started with the foregrounds will be static, and then once he gets working on something, and he's one of these dudes that'll, he'll produce music or do art, and he doesn't just do pixel art. In fact, we met in art class in 11th grade. He moved away. We've reconnected 15 years later, but the dude can do it all. But once he gets noodling on an art project or a musical project, whether it's an album for his band or a solo project, he just goes. So he's been just putting in 50, 60-hour weeks developing assets and music for this collection. And it started with all these static figures, and then eventually evolves into, hey, I think I could do animations for 10%. And I'm like, oh, that's great. He's like, okay, I figured out, I think we can do animations for half of them. And then 3 weeks later, he's like, oh, I'm just going to animate foreground elements on nearly every single one. So most of them animate, and it just kept growing, which also just pushed our release date back. But it was fun to see the process, because we have our internal Slack channels, and he's like, guys, check this out. I did 5 new one-off characters today, and I'm introducing handhelds. So not only are the avatars, then there's some subset that has a hand in the foreground, and they're holding a weapon that'll be used in the battle arena, or a power-up. A lot of them are nods to traits from our first collection that our community latched onto. We have a tomato gang, we have a basketball team, so now there's basketball in the collection and some nods. We have our sports fans. The whole Discord is filled with nerds, frankly. It's it's musicians, sports fans, video game fans. It's all of my childhood ephemera, basically, all wrapped into one. And
that's quite the crew.
That's sort of what's emerging in this new collection as well. But it's been a fun process. The pre-sale's running now through the 14th, still live as we talk, and we're still whitelisting users as they come in. It takes us a bit to review them. We're running through the list, trying to avoid duplicates, trying to get a real fair distribution on the launch. And then if it doesn't sell out in pre-sale, which it might, it's looking like it may, then we go to a public sale on the 16th, which is Saturday. Trying to avoid the gas wars, however. I'm finding it leaves a bad taste in your mouth when you spend a quarter ETH on gas to mint something.
$80 on gas.
Not acceptable. So go ahead.
Yeah. What I was going to ask is, so how many are you reserving for pre-sale, and what's going to be are you doing 500 units for pre-sale, or
more than that? So we're actually approaching 4,000 sold in pre-sale altogether. So we gave auto whitelist access to users that already held the previous collection, and then we've been slowly moving through the whitelist request form in our Discord, which is thousands, and it grows a few hundred every 10 minutes. Basically.
Right.
So we're moving through and trying to get everyone whitelisted that wants to be. Frankly, because it's just a better process and leaves a better taste in their mouth. But and
that's four out of Are you doing a 10,000 launch?
Doing 15K. So
a different amount.
Given the
50. Okay, so you still still have 11 up for sale on Saturday. Okay.
Yeah, and the pre-sale will be ongoing, so that'll truncate considerably by the time we get to public sale. And people ask us about the 15K as to whether or not that's too many, but we don't think so in the context of other games, right? So if you look at Zed, like they're at over 100,000 horses. It's probably like 130, 140. Chicken Derby's at 30-something thousand chickens, and
well, how many freaking characters are in Axie Infinity? Because everyone's breeding them and making more. So it's. I don't know how many they started with, but there's got to be like hundreds of thousands.
Wildly inflationary,
floating around there.
It's kind of interesting from like a tokenomics standpoint. Like, at what point do you cap it? And then because people are buying to play, but then the value of their Axie is depreciating as more are being introduced.
Right, they're going to be.
It is interesting.
Right. Yeah, it's wild. It's almost like the early people, so it's like now obviously there's no original characters left, so you would have to breed, you have to buy someone's bred Axie in order to start playing, and then it's like, all right, so then the point is then you get 2 and then you breed more, and then it's just like, all right, are you going to be able to sell the ones that you've bred for the same as what you paid for the original ones? And it's probably not. I would imagine if you're just, deflating or inflating the number of characters out there. But so you're not going to have any breeding or anything like that. So once it's 15K, it's just 15K.
Yeah, we are exploring like different models. So like 15K units is not a lot for like one of these proposed games, right? We want a wider distribution, which is kind of why we're going the pre-sale route, so we don't end up with like one user that owns 500 or 1,000. That being said, we already have users picking up off the secondaries. Like I looked at some of our top wallets, I'm like, oh, someone's already grabbed 30, even though they could only cop 3 or 5 in the pre-sale, depending. And
right.
But it's still not a wide user base. So even if you get 3,000 users holding, and then you launch a game with only 3,000
holding
play,
5 each.
You have a hard time, attracting new users to the platform. It does produce buy-side demand to get into the platform. However, so we've looked at the potential for launching like different collections that are not Dreamers. In fact, we have one in production. We are focused on like musical releases. So we have a new musical release that's coming in January. Different art style altogether. It's not going to be pixel art this time. It's going to be a little more fine art looking / illustrative. And then the musical genre is completely different. Think like real world instruments and orchestrations. I don't want to say what genre because it's a complete 180 from what we're doing. Okay. But we had this thought it's still going to be avatars, completely different style avatar. We thought, well, what if we integrated those into the arena as well? Or what if we even reached out to the cybercons or the apes and made it interoperable with other communities? So that takes some orchestration because we are doing individual character animations for the arena. So that would be, if we imported another project, then we'd be, we'd have to orchestrate some way for that character to interact. But we've considered something like that. We do want to keep the Dreamers total fixed because I think it presents a problem when you inflate the hell out of the collection just from a collectible standpoint in terms of volume and distribution, obviously. So we're playing with a few models there. Coming from a crypto background or and having any understanding of general finance markets, you don't want to inflate the living crap out of your out of whatever it is.
Yeah, you don't want to just print a bunch of units out of thin air like the.
Precisely, like the biggest.
You don't want to do that.
The biggest funny money of all time. Yeah, precisely. So, it's tricky. So we're playing with that, but what we are focused on is after the sellout, then focus on facilitating a good product for the battle arena, and then we're gonna work on the nuances of how do we onboard more users to this, and maybe there's some interesting models out there. Like I don't know if you're familiar. There's a rental platform for NFTs right now. Have you seen this?
No.
So I have, and I do own a couple. Kyle and I own a couple of Rumble Kongs, and so
I like that project.
So I think they are going to be. They are going to be doing the rental model. That's at least what it says in their roadmap. I'm not 100% familiar with how it works, so if you know more than I do, please illuminate me.
I've admittedly not tried it yet. I was eyeballing this platform the other day.
Okay.
And as I understand it, it's sort of like it looks like a sort of a multi-sig solution where like you get custody so that you could perhaps interface, with the gaming environment, or even just brag that, say, hey, I have this thing in my wallet, and you have to collateralize it. So like any lending platform, it actually might not be multi-sig, but I do know it's collateralized. So if you look at a lot of DeFi platforms where there's lending, you tend to have to fully collateralize the loan, and then it's checking the price as the price fluctuates. If it goes up, that is, if your collateral goes up in value, then you're fine on the loan, right? If your collateral goes down in value, it's kind of like a margin position in leverage trading.
I was just thinking of margin call.
Then you need to add additional capital for the collateral. So
add funds or
exactly, or exit the position. So the platform I was looking at, similar model, you have to fully collateralize. Then they're querying, floor prices of the NFTs that are lended. So if the floor price increases, you have to collateralize more. If it decreases, then you're covered, or conversely with your collateral. So I think that's kind of a novel model. So these users that have 5, whether it's Dreamers, Rumble Kongs, Zed horses, although there's so many Zed horses, it's easy to get in a race. But if you had, what is it? There's only 10,000 Rumble Kongs, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or is it 12K, something like that? Yeah.
10,000.
And it's basketball, is that correct?
It's basketball.
Yes.
Basketball, 3-on-3 basketball.
I had a couple Rumble Kongs. I have to say I sold mine, unfortunately, and I think they kept going up in value. But I like the art style on that. For anything, something that's sort of ape adjacent, that I love the art on that, like the snake-toothed Rumble Kongs. I tried to buy avatars with striped shirts, so I had a striped shirt, Rumble Kong, and I think I exited the Rumble Kong so ape into something else. It was a mistake. I might go pick up another one. But yeah, the idea that you could lend them and then get to play in the game, I think that's a novel solution for some of these projects without increasing supply. Yeah, so we'll see if that gets traction.
Right, and then it allows more users to, find out about it, and then also rewards the people who are lending it with, I imagine they're earning some interest or something on the lending, right?
Or they charge a rate. The platform I was looking at yesterday had a daily rate, so not only do you have to collateralize the loan, but then you're paying, collateralize the rental. It's not really collateral. I guess it's more like, I guess it's collateral.
You have to prove that you have this, you have this much Ethereum,
and they lock it up too. So so if you're not returning it, then you lose the collateral. The wonder of smart contracts is that it's there's no debt collection; they just take it from you.
They just take it.
So it's a really novel concept, I think. Borrowing from real world financial mechanics, but putting it into smart contracts for lending, and giving the users more assuredness that they're not going to get scammed out of their loan, right? Which is cool. Now to see that in NFTs, I think that's a win in terms of solving the inflationary model for some of these games. Yeah.
I love the use cases when it comes to renting out this stuff. I saw some Olympic athletes during the Olympics renting a CryptoPunk to have as their PFP as just a flex, as a flex, but also just being here, this is a big moment. As many eyes are going to be on me, in the foreseeable future. I want to do something for myself as a confidence booster, whatever it is. In that social flex that everyone wants, it's really cool to kind of give people the opportunity to, even if it's just for a short period, to, actually own it. You know what I mean? I think that's really fun. Even myself, imagine. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe one day I do a magic trick on Jimmy Fallon or something. I would love to rent a CryptoPunk and throw it up as my PFP, just for that 24 hours that people come through and see the Twitter. I think it's cool. I think it's fun.
Well, yeah. I mean, you look at all these all these people, all the college kids for the NFL draft, if they think they're going to get drafted, they go out and rent a bunch of jewelry.
Yeah.
And then so they
it's
look
exactly the same thing, right?
like they got millions of dollars before they get paid, and then just return it the next day.
It's an interesting analogy too, and something that's sort of like just generally pertinent to the use case for NFTs. Like everyone talks about utility, and a lot of the utility that I see purported by projects or the users are talking about when they're shilling something, whether their favorite profile pick project or whatever. I think that's not utility. That's just a perk, or that's something you're getting later, or it's access.
Right.
But the real utility is what you just described, right? Like we like nice things. Like we like nice cars. Human beings have their jewelry, their ephemera, their T-shirts. So people ask me like, well, what are NFTs used for? The common example I use is, well, the comparison isn't cryptocurrency. The apt comparison from a market standpoint is streetwear, like the Supreme sweatshirts,
a Rolex.
Rolex. Yeah, exactly. So now you flex it, you put it on your profile. It's the extension of this like meta persona on the internet. Flex your ape, flex this thing, and it also, not only that, it's like demonstrating something you're into. Like we all socially signal with our various trappings, whether it's hairstyles, shoe wears, wrist wear. Same thing. And people think it's silly, but here we are on the cutting edge and the cusp of it. And I don't see this going anywhere, especially as our online lives become richer. How many times have we talked about Twitter, during the course of this conversation for whether it's for MMA, NFTs.
Too many.
It is the marketplace of ideas, and Twitter. Twitter's hip to it. They're doing their own NFTs, and I don't know if you guys saw that demo the other day, where they have it was the lead of product like marketing or something like that. So he got a demo of NFT verification. There's already these plugins that do it, right? Where the fourth tab, internal demo of verifying that you own the profile pic that you have on your profile. And I was like, boom, there you go.
Right, so you can get like another...
it's really well done. They put a purple ETH symbol right below the profile pic. So, so not only that, so it looks like...
So they know that it's not just a screenshot.
Precisely. So super smart. I think they need to go the verified collection route, because the way to bypass that would be to make a false collection and then validate that one. But if you only provide it for verified OpenSea collections, for example, then boom, everyone knows, oh, this guy's the real deal. He's the collector of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And then also you can look at their gallery potentially. So they're hip to it. It's not going anywhere. If anything, this is just going to be more embedded in day-to-day, internet life at least. So and I like it. I think it's a logical progression.
Yep, and I saw, speaking of Twitter, some NFT nerd posted a GIF of, he goes, "This is where we are with NFTs," and it's a picture of the second generation fucking block cell phone, and it's like
Motorola.
Yeah, you think this is like the peak, like we're in Atari land,
absolutely,
right now. Especially with what's going to be possible with, like the metaverse and freaking sandbox and all that stuff integrating. Like we're still in the Atari stages right now in terms of what's possible and what's going to be possible.
Agreed. Yeah, the metaverse stuff is super exciting. We do monthly crypto voxels parties, and that's been a whole thing. I come from a dozen backgrounds, frankly, but I used to DJ here in Vegas. In fact, I had a contract with what was once known as Angel Management Group, which is now Hakkasan Group, and they, big purveyors of massive nightclubs here in town, and used to DJ, orchestrate parties on the Strip downtown, and we've taken the model from throwing real world parties and sort of applied it to the metaverse. We basically embed a Twitch stream into our parcel, we pack people in, we do giveaways, and they're not really dancing, but it very much feels like like a party, like a dance party. You'd throw DJs and music, and they do the dance mode. And man, we our numbers just keep going higher. Like first, people are like, "What is this? It's confusing. It's weird." But there's music, and this guy's talking to me, and occasionally we're winning free NFTs, and then people are typing at me in chat. So we're finding ways to sort of bridge that gap between expectations and the real world, and it also allows people that don't want to go downtown or go to a party or go listen to a DJ in a a smoky bar or a nightclub. Well, not too smoky for people outside of Vegas. Here we still smoking inside of bars, but yeah. So so it allows people to have sort of these interactions, whether they're parasocial or not, like in metaverse environments. And I think that's kind of novel, because people are like, well, it's a video game. Well, it's not really a video game. It's really a social phenomenon. And that's exciting stuff too. So yeah, and we have a sandbox parcel. We've secured a partnership parcel with the sandbox, and hoping to port that same vibe over to the sandbox when they go live. But sandbox is ambitious. I've seen some of their development demos. We chatted briefly with their team a few times, and man, it looks so good. Like that's going to be the next one. It's taking all of the right cues from the existing metaverses and making it something new, and it looks like it's still going to be browser based, and that's key too, because not everyone has a $3,000 gaming rig, especially now that it's hard. You can't find video cards, you can't find processors. The ability for someone,
you can't even get PS5.
Exactly. So,
or
if you could,
and graphics cards, now that Bitcoin's almost $60K, people are using them for friggin' mining.
Exactly. Yeah, nothing's available.
So,
I got lucky and sniped a nice video card off eBay. About like 9 months ago, I think, one of the 3080s, and it's like, now I look at it, I'm like, I could resell this for twice what I paid, which is insane, and it's used.
Right.
But these metaverse spaces are really trying to bridge into something that's easy, like low barrier to entry. Like, you can run this on a MacBook, you can run this potentially on a Chromebook. You may have to drop your settings a little, but it's not going to crash your computer. And like, I loaded our CryptoVoxels parcel the other day on my iPhone. I'm like, it works. It's not perfect, but it works. And I know that's the experience the Sandbox is reaching for in terms of that barrier to entry. And it's it's the same reason why Minecraft persists as being like one of the most consistently played games. It's why Roblox was able to go public, because they're building within frameworks that are accessible to every socioeconomic group, right? And like NFTs, sure. Many people are like, they're too expensive, I can't get in. But you know what you can do? You can go experience the metaverse. And when you're in those metaverse spaces, you're messing with NFTs. You can make a wallet, sign up to CryptoVoxels, and get a free wearable. Boom, there's your first NFT, and it was free. And then as we move to networks like Polygon, Solana, even Wax, Wax, I haven't seen a lot of experiential stuff, but there's a lot of good promise on Solana, a lot of good promise on Polygon. Like, that barrier to entry is even lower because you're eliminating the gas crisis, which is endemic to Ethereum right now. And eventually Ethereum's going to get they're going to get their staking mechanism, they're going to get their proof of work mechanism together at some juncture and move to a network update that's sustainable. These sort of hard forks in terms of software updates, they become a battle when you're trying to deal with social consensus of mining pool operators and developers and holders. But I think everyone knows it's sort of in a crisis mode with these current gas prices. It's not sustainable. We will find a solution. I just don't think it's not within the next 3 months, but eventually. And then that's going to drop the barrier to entry even further. So it's, I think the cell phone analogy is super apt. We are the Motorola Zach Morris brick phone right now. And, hopefully we'll move to...
We're not even anywhere close to even like a next
exactly. Yeah, let alone Motorola Razr and or really proto smartphone. So.
That's a great phone.
Yep. Well, cool, guys. Do you guys have anything else?
No, thank you for having us on. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for tolerating our MMA banter. I won't be offended if you cut that out. I like to chat about it.
It's all going up.
50-50 split.
It's all going up.
We'll have to have you back on and talk more fights.
So it's great to talk to you guys. We'll leave it there.
It.
So one thing, just let's keep your browsers up for a couple minutes after we hang up, and then it'll upload to their server.
Use it in the background.
Thanks guys so
Scott.
much.
Nice meeting both of you. Enjoyed the conversation.
Yep.